tell us in less than 10 minutes what you've accomplished over the past 4 years and why you deserve another term.
Sure. Well, it's the job of the Secretary of State to basically perform two essential services, and that's new business filings and elections as the Chief Elections Officer. And on the business filing side, I'll start with that first. Well, when I got to office, Ohio had just lost about 400,000 jobs in the previous administration. We were facing an $8 billion budget shortfall, and I walked in the very first day to meet the staff that I inherited in the Secretary of State's office, and I basically made this one plea to them, that Ohio's in trouble, we have to do better. The very first interaction any business has with Ohio is through our office, at the Office of Secretary of State, where you do your new business filings. And I said that has to be a great interaction. We have to improve our services there so that everybody that interacts with us has a good first experience and feels better about operating in Ohio. And so quickly, they worked with me to reduce the wait time to start a new business. Initially, when I got there, it was 4 days to start a new business. That was way too long. We quickly reduced that to a day and a half. And then I fulfilled a promise that I made during the campaign to make sure that you could start a business online now. And there were a lot of folks in our team that were skeptical about that. They thought it might have meant an end to their jobs, their livelihoods. I said, well, hang on, we'll see how this works out. And what we were able to accomplish is to guarantee 24-hour turnaround to start a new business in 80% of the cases in Ohio. And you can do it all online now. And that works out great. And the benefit of that is that in 2012 we set a record for the number of new business starts in the state of Ohio. We broke that record in 2013, and we're ahead of pace to break that record in 2014. So what we can touch and do in the Secretary of State's office in terms of new businesses has set a very positive tone for new business creation in Ohio, and that ultimately results in more jobs. And so we have made great strides on that front to make it easier. We did a lot of firsts. When I got to office, you couldn't start a business online. Now you can do it online, and now we get it done in 24 hours. Now on the election side, as the Chief Elections Officer, that's obviously where the majority of my work is accomplished. And I have one simple mission there, to make it easy to vote and hard to cheat. We try to balance access to the polls while at the same time ensuring the integrity of the elections process. On the easy to vote side, it's pretty simple. Every single voter in Ohio receives an absentee ballot request mailed from me to their homes. They fill that out and turn it in. They have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for a month to cast a ballot without ever leaving home. In addition, we've also implemented a 28-day in-person voting schedule that was not my idea, but is the only bipartisan idea that's actually gotten any traction out there, and this was a schedule that was established by the local elections officials, the people, the Democrats and Republicans that run elections at the local level. They came together, they voted on a schedule that they had bipartisan agreement on, and I endorsed and adopted their schedule, and so now you can vote for 28 days, including the last 2 Saturdays and the last Sunday before the election, and then 13 hours on election day. Over 9,000 precinct locations across the state of Ohio. Now, there was one group of people that didn't have an easy time voting when I ran for office the first time, and that was military voters. I had a lady who came up to me in Des Moines, Ohio, who exclaimed very emotionally that her sons, one served in Iraq and one in Afghanistan, and they didn't get their ballots in time in 2008 to vote in that presidential election. I committed to her that I would fix this, and I did. I hired a young man who served 2 tours of duty in Iraq as a Marine to come in and work with all 6 service branches, create our military ready to vote program. Now you receive your ballot 45 days before the election, no matter where you are in the world. Fill out one form, get you registered, and get your ballot sent to you. And and there's a tracking number so that every service member from Ohio that gets this ballot can track that ballot all the way back to the Board of Elections to make sure that it was received and counted. We've sent ballots out to those voters serving our country. Ohioans in 47 states, 79 countries, and seven naval vessels. And Ohio has received all-star status from the Military Voter Protection Program. The way we treat military voters, we're only one of 6 states in the country to get that place very well. On the hard-to-cheat side, we had to modernize our system. We only had complete data when I got to office on 20% of the voters. You can't run an election system with security and efficiency if you don't have it. Why do we have such limited information? Because the BMV database, which keeps most of the information, like your driver's license number and all those things that we need to cross-check to make sure your ballots are valid, no one ever hooked it up to the Secretary of State's statewide voter database. So we had no way to exchange that information. We were non-compliant with the motor voter law for 17 years prior to my coming to office. We linked those. We linked citizenship database. We linked to other states to make sure that we could cross-check with their voting system. Now, and as a part of that, we eliminated 360,000 deceased voters from the voter rolls, 340,000 duplicate names. We found 20 voters that had voted in Ohio and in another state that we're holding accountable. We found 291 non-citizens that were on the rolls, including 17 of them that voted in the last presidential election, and we're holding all of those folks accountable. So when we talk about voter fraud, we've attacked the issue, and we've made it it's very rare, but it does exist, and when we find people, we hold them accountable, and we're building a stronger system every day to make sure that it doesn't happen. So we have balanced, making it easy to vote, hard to cheat. Ohio has an election system that we should be very proud of. Now, one final question, as good folks will always ask me, well, if you did all these new things, how much more did it cost us? And I'm happy to report that because we use technology to modernize our system, we were able to send the last budget to the legislature from our office with a 21% cut. We are doing more with less. We're doing with 25% fewer people in the bureaucracy in our office, and that was very important because we wanted to send that message when we got there. We want Ohio to be open for business. We want people to invest in Ohio. We want them to start business here. And we also wanted to help do our part to fill that $8 billion budget shortfall by walking the talk and doing more with less, so that when we ask everybody else to sacrifice, that we were doing our part in that as well. So that's the case I make to you on business filings, setting records, doing lots of firsts, on voting, setting records, doing lots of firsts, and we did it with less money.